Hello. So the topic that I chose is forensic odontology. This goes over what it's used for and what its purpose is. So what is forensic odontology? Forensic odontology is also sometimes referred to as forensic dentistry. It's defined as the application of dental knowledge to those criminal and civil laws that are enforced by police agencies in a criminal justice system. Forensic dentists are involved in assisting investigative agencies to identify recovered human remains in addition to the identification of whole or fragmented bodies. Forensic dentists may also be asked to assist in determining age, race, occupation, previous dental history, and socioeconomic status of unidentified human beings. Some of the famous cases that we're about to go over that have been used in forensic dentistry do have some graphic details to them. I obviously left out most of them because that's not necessarily needed. But I just wanted to kind of give a heads up on that. So, for instance, September 11th, 2001, some of you guys may remember this, some people may not. I don't really remember a whole lot. I remember my dad was traveling that day, but that was about it. So on this day, as everybody knows, terrorists attacked the Twin Towers in New York. Approximately 2,749 people were killed in the terrorist attack. Many of the remains have still not been identified, but with the help of dental records, over half of them have been identified. Scientists are still actively trying to identify more and more people each day. I inserted some pictures from when I went and visited 9/11. The picture on the left is pretty crazy to see that it melted that. And then if you wanted to pause and look at all the kind of by the numbers for the World Trade Center on the right, you can do that. Another interesting case was Adolf Hitler. So after his mass killings of almost 6 million Jews, he instructed his military to rip out the dental work of those that had been deceased. He used any of the gold or bridges that they, I hate the word harvested, but that they harvested and used it for profit. However, when Adolf Hitler died, he did not want his stuff taken out. His dental work was only used to identify him later on. Many conspiracy theorists think Hitler ran off, but forensics were used to properly identify him and his wife. After he killed himself and his bride ingested cyanide, their bodies were burned because that's what he chose to do. That's what he wanted. The remains were later found and examined about a month later. Professor Perrier, I think that's how you pronounce it, is quoted saying, "What they found were charred pieces of the bone, such as pieces of skull, the lower jaw, and parts of the upper jaw consisting of a bridge with 9 units. That is a huge bridge. In 1972, Hitler's gigantic bridge was verified by x-rays of Hitler's head, which were originally taken on July 20th, 1944, which is my birthday, but obviously a lot earlier. Those images show the bridge work, periodontitis, and very unusual is what the quotation was, dental work that helped provide proof of the result of the original Russian autopsy." I thought it was pretty interesting that they were able to see periodontitis in the x-ray, so I feel like it probably was severe enough that it was more obvious than if it had just started. On the left, you'll see the x-ray supposedly taken of Adolf Hitler with his 9-unit bridge. And on the right, it shows what I found, anyways, were some sketches of what his dental work looked like. So I'm assuming on the upper arch, the centrals, the upper right lateral, and the upper left canine were either crowns or implanted of some sort. I'm not quite sure. I couldn't find a whole lot of information about that. And then one of the most famous cases is the Ted Bundy case. Bundy was a widely known serial killer. He was known for kidnapping, assaulting, killing, and raping many young women. And fortunately enough, had it not been for dental forensics, Bundy may have escaped imprisonment for many more years. I think eventually he probably would have got caught because, well, he was already on the run from several different states. But I did decide to enter a trigger warning because there are some details in this next slide that are kind of, I don't know, some people might be sensitive to it. I'm not at all, so it's hard for me to decide if somebody else would be. One of Bundy's victims was 20-year-old Lisa Levy. Lisa was staying at a sorority house called Chi Omega, and on January 15, 1978, Bundy broke into the house and went into Levy's room, beat her unconscious, strangled her, and bit her butt very deeply. There's a lot more that goes into this other than, what I've written down, but like I said at the very beginning, I don't think I need to add those details in. Many people have probably heard about it. If you haven't and you're interested, you can Google it for yourself. And as terrible as it sounds, it's probably a good thing that he did bite her as hard as he did, because leaving that mark did allow forensic dentists to create molds of Bundy's teeth. These molds were used to match the marks left on her bottom and pin him to numerous other killings. So on the left, it shows court documents, pictures of his teeth. And then on the right, it shows them taking the molds and castings of his teeth. The bottom area shows where they kind of drew out where his teeth were. And then that very bottom right picture shows his bite. So pretty obvious that that was from him. The main uses of forensic dentistry are to identify human remains. For instance, people in mass casualties, assessment of bite mark injuries, assessment of cases of child abuse, unfortunately also including child abuse, civil cases involving malpractices, age estimation, and sex determination. And for training, currently there are only 2 available programs for forensic odontology. The University of Texas Health Science at San Antonio Center Dental School has 1 program. You must be a DDS, DMD, or have an equivalent degree from an accredited institution, and obviously pass a criminal background investigation. And then the other is University of Tennessee Institute of Agriculture, College of Veterinary Medicine. I noticed on their website they require a lot more. I don't know if it's because it's a degree where the first one is a fellowship instead. But you have to have a bachelor's degree with a 4.0 from an accredited college, selection from a major professor, a combined score of at least 300 on the GRE, if no professional degree from an accredited institution, and obviously several more things, letters of recommendations, application fees, stuff like that. In conclusion, dental work and treatments aren't only beneficial in life, but also in death as well. Many of these things deal with awful tragedies, but I would find it pretty rewarding to be able to bring peace and justice to some of the families. And if you have any questions, just write them below.